The cat's been out the bag for a while now, but now Van Rysel have officially launched their pure aero road bike, the RCR-F, with the F apparently standing for fast. In today's video, we'll break down everything that's new about this bike, what makes it special, and how it differs from the RCR, and whether it's a bike for you. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and without further ado, let's dive in. First things first, if you're looking for a bike that does it all, where you frequently tackle climbs above a 5-degree gradient or routes with more than 1,500 meters of elevation gain per 100 kilometers, then this is not the bike for you. Instead, you should be looking at the RCR. I say this because the RCR-F was built purely for all-out speed on flat terrain, dominating sprint finishes and maximizing aerodynamics. If that sounds good to you, or you're just curious about this bike, then you're in the right place. The bike was developed together with Swisside, a leading name in aerodynamics, and has technically already been in use by Team Decathlon since May of last year, already snagging a couple of sprint wins this season. Like most of the new aero bikes out there, the RCR-F was developed using extensive CFD simulations and wind tunnel testing, and it takes advantage of the new UCI 8:1 tube shape ratio. So ultimately, the tube shapes are significantly deeper, wider, and more aerodynamic than the RCR, especially at the front end of the bike. Add on the new one-piece aero cockpit developed in collaboration with Deda and featuring a curved shape, and the RCR-F saves 13.6 watts at 45 kilometers an hour compared to the RCR. To put that into perspective, that's about 1 minute and 30 seconds saved on a 268 kilometer course with 2,250 meters of elevation gain. Not terrible. My only conundrum here is that it is not clear if the frame has been aerodynamically optimized for bottles and cages, as the wind tunnel testing and comparisons were done without them. This is somewhat standard nowadays to include those real-life conditions, and we've seen with brands like Colnago and Trek. Touching back on the cockpit, the drops also feature inserts which Van Rysel are calling ergo drops. They essentially fill the hollows of your hands, ensuring they are always in the right position when turning, braking, sprinting, etc., and apparently also place your wrist in a more aero position. The drops feature a 12-degree flare, which is 5 degrees more than the RCR, promoting better stability when sprinting and a more aerodynamic and comfortable position. With that being said, Van Rysel put a lot of thought into the posture of the rider, since that has a huge effect on drag. They found that the most aero position is when the forearms are rested on top of the cockpit and the elbows are at a 90-degree angle. So they designed the bike to naturally promote this position. You'll find the stack and reach to be slightly more aggressive than the RCR, promoting that more stretched out position. Otherwise, the geometries are almost identical. One thing to note is that every frame size comes with a set cockpit width and length. There's no option to customize it. So if you wanted to fine-tune the bike to get into that ideal posture Van Rysel suggest, you'd need to get a different cockpit elsewhere. Same goes for the crank length, which is a bit of a bummer, especially when they're emphasizing how important rider positioning is. Now, because the bike is built for speed and sprints, it was also optimized in terms of stiffness without sacrificing too much weight. Like almost every brand out there, they used a blend of super high modulus and high modulus carbon fiber, which vary in stiffness and weight, and layered them strategically around the frame. By doing so, they made the RCR-F 7% stiffer than the RCR in the front end. Weight-wise, everything from the bolt to the paint job was considered. The frame set alone comes in at 1.42 kilos in size M, bringing the fully built top-tier model with Dura-Ace group set to 7.5 kilos. It's slightly heavier than some competitors, but still very decent for an aero bike, especially at this price point, which I'll get to in a second. And honestly, weight isn't really a high priority when it comes to aero bikes. For comparison, the Canyon Aeroad with similar spec comes in at 7.07 kilos, the Cube Lightning Aero, which is cheaper, 7.4 kilos, and the Colnago Y1 RS 7.45 kilos, so more or less in the same ballpark. The RCR-F comes in 3 variations, differing only in group set and wheels for the top tier model, and therefore price, which I think is fantastic. So every model comes with the deep 65mm Swisside Hadron wheels, the ULT version on the top model, the one-piece aero cockpit, a power meter, and GP 5000 tires. The bike starts at 5,499 euros and goes up to 9,499 euros, which, let's be honest, isn't the budget-friendly pricing you might be used to from Van Rysel, especially especially considering the RCR with 105 Di2 and power meter is about 1,000 euros cheaper than the RCR-F. It's still, however, pretty competitive compared to other top tier brands out there. Speaking of tires and wheels, you can also fit up to a 32mm tire, which is pretty standard on aero bikes nowadays. So is the Rysel RCR-F the right bike for you? Well, if you're looking for a pure speed machine built to dominate flat roads and sprint finishes at a competitive price point, then yes, for sure. Alternatives would be the Canyon Aero or Cube Lightning Aero. However, if you're after a more well-rounded bike or your rides include steep climbs or long days in the mountains, you might be better off with the RCR instead. All of which you can find pre-owned on bicycle.com for up to 70% off. Link in the description. Either way, Rysel has delivered a bike that's worthy of serious attention. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new RCR-F and if you'd consider getting one. Thank you for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, peace.